Yeah, then maybe talk through some of your first jobs that ended up maybe putting you on the map, or because the stuff you designed that magazine doesn't exactly sound like the stuff that you were putting in your portfolio. So what did you do to sort of as this side hustle you're doing, trying to go freelance going freelance, but then trying to make it your full-time gig? Yeah.
It wasn't anything really notable as far as who the client was. I think it was just we were finally honing in on a style that we really enjoyed making, and it showed through. And so we just posted it to Dribbble, and then someone shared it to Pinterest, and this one logo just went berserk. I think it was that Tribes logo that you made. Yeah. And all of a sudden everyone,
the company didn't even end up becoming a thing. But
yeah.
The logo
yeah, but the logo lives on Pinterest. But that was probably the best thing that ever happened, was that going viral on
Instagram
Pinterest. Yeah. Well, and Instagram was great too, but then the problem there, which wasn't a problem, eventually we got out of it, was for a while everyone was coming to us wanting can you make me that Tribes logo but just use my name, and you're well, that's not really how logos work, but eventually we got out of that rut too. But yeah, it's weird because probably the style we're known for, that we get a lot of work for, isn't usually the highest paying projects that we get. A lot of what really pays the bills are these bigger, more corporate jobs where we're doing more things that probably don't end up on our portfolio, but it works out. So notoriety and profitability are kind of two different things that we're constantly balancing. What is the time worth to spend on both things, because they're both important and they cyclically kind of work together. So
yeah, and I think a lot of it was maybe not necessarily the brands we worked on, but just having good friends that trusted us enough to really takes a project to make it ours creatively. So we were putting out work that we really enjoyed, and we were doing it for nickels and dimes at the time because we just wanted a portfolio. But we just had so many amazing friends in our friend group that as well, just making cool shit. And they were hey, we need a logo, let's get the Hood Sisters. And they were just awesome enough to bring us on and trust us with their projects. And I think that was the biggest thing, is just having a great group of friends that we made it clear to them, hey, we're doing this thing, if you need help, let me know. Yeah. And they brought us in.
Well, and really edging in on it too. Hey, so you're doing something? Can I help? To the point where they're no, they usually wanted us around, but we've always been really eager and excited, and I think that translates when you're excited about what someone's doing. It gives them an ego boost, and they usually, anybody wants, to have more people who are talented involved in what they're doing and donating time and effort. So, and that's really come back in spades. People that we helped out at the beginning have gone on to work for amazing companies who now are referring that company to come to us, and it's paying us huge dividends, just because we gave them a favor. So I don't know if the never work for free mantra totally is true,
It may not have been free, but it felt free.
It felt free, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Can you talk through the balance of that work that is sort of your portfolio work that you love, that sort of is your brand, and then working with corporate clients who maybe talk about how you do sort of blend those two, or because you can't always do exactly what you want to do and how you want to do it, but obviously they have budgets larger than the friend down the street who needs a logo for their new company they're starting. How does that blend work, or how do you
I don't even know if we consciously do it. We just look at our numbers every quarter, and we say, okay, how much are we making? Are we at our goal? And we make a new goal, and every month we have a certain amount of money that we're trying to book, and now we're booking ahead months, which is really nice. So once we've made that quota, and now we're trying to make the quota with obviously less clients so that we have a little bit more side time. Once we make that quota, usually that's when we're figuring out, okay, what are some little passion projects that are way below what we normally charge, but we could pick it up for a friend or help someone out, that they're going to give us a little bit more of the reins, and they're going to let us do what we want to do with less oversight, and that's what's fun, and that's usually when we figure out what we can do for who at that point. Not that we only take on money-making projects, but we do have to be smart about okay, how can we keep the machine running while we do fun things on the side?
And I would say you probably have found this too, if you put out the kind of work you want to get,
right,
it comes back to you. Mm-hmm. So even we got hired by Asics recently because they were we want to get an outside designer instead of our in-house team to take over the branding of this project because we want it to appeal to millennials, which is not necessarily our overall brand feel. So even like big clients like that sometimes will outsource us for more like bold or cutting edge projects. So I think even with the big corporate clients, it ends up coming back and really working out.
Yeah. I think you've really won when a client or a new person comes to you and says, we just want you to do your style.
Oh, yeah.
We want to pay for it. Like, you're like, perfect. Like, I've made it finally, right? Which, yeah, that's the goal.
Within that same sort of thought process with, because sometimes you get known for sort of like when you get known for logos or known for a certain style, have you found yourselves sort of getting tired of that, like tired of that style? And then how do you sort of make changes or growth?
Right, that is hard.
Well, I think we're constantly evolving. So usually we're putting out constant work that's showing the evolution slowly, and people are, because we've never really knee-jerked to like a totally new avenue, it's never been hard to kind of like bring everybody along with us. Also, I think usually the people who are coming to us like can usually notice when something's been done too much, you know, and you're usually like, hey, like, let's not go that
Or you
that
can
route.
kind of convince them, and you're kind of like, look how everyone else is doing this. Let's do something different.
Let's carve a market out
like,
here.
let's not follow the herd.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we do have like people will often say like, oh, that looks like a Hoodzpah logo. Like, or they'll send us a picture of something, they're like, this looks like something you would have done. So we're noticing that people associate us with a style, and I think that is helpful. And although it is evolving, there is always kind of a similar vibe to it. So, yeah. So we don't mind being typecast in that essence, you know.
I think, I mean, on our website, we try to keep it pretty, like vague, I guess, and try to make sure we're hitting a lot of different styles, just because we don't want anyone not to come to us because they think, oh, they probably can't do that. Because I feel like if you're a good designer and there's like a clear brand set out, it's usually really easy to kind of take that on and run with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Fun. And then, so what do you, within that and within growth, you know, what do you do to sort of feed the creative monster inside you?
I think you always have to have side projects, because it's really easy to get like down on yourself with client work and feel like, oh, they keep saying no, or I keep having to like give way. But I mean, client work is just going to always be that way because it's two people working together, and you're always going to have to make sacrifices. And it's not a bad thing. It's just the way it works when you're working with more than one person.
Yeah.
Jen and I fight all the time just about Hoodzpah stuff. So even when you're working on your own stuff.
And the funny thing is probably no matter which decision won, like outside, externally, people will be like, it looks exactly the same.
Exactly.
Like this,
the end result is always usually a win. You know, it's like, it's rare that I feel like we come to an end of a project and think, no, it's the worst. We can't even post it. You know, usually a lot of times the client's questions or like
stress testing actually makes it stronger because it forces you to like consider the angle, and when you go down that avenue, you either realize, okay, this proves that the original option was better, or it's like, oh dang, that
they
had a point. Yeah, they had a point.
So, but I think so because you're working in a space where there is a lot of giving. I think it's good to have your own personal projects where you feel like you have control over like what you want to achieve. And we've always used that for like, we'll take a look at our portfolio and we'll say like, we want to get more packaging projects. Mm-hmm. So then we started this Odds and Sods brand, and I'm like, let's just make this packaging everything we've always wanted to do for a client, but they like didn't have the budget or were too afraid or like didn't want to go outside of the box. And let's just like have fun with it and do what we want. And then usually like after that, like people will start sharing it on Pinterest, and then people come to us and they're like, oh, we want something really crazy, really fun. And it usually always ends up coming back. So
yeah,
I think side projects is how you maintain that creative flow, and you don't get stuck just doing the same old hackneyed stuff.
Right. Like right now we're trying a side project with something we've never done before, which is video. We're not videographers, we're not good with film. Well, we don't think, but we're getting into that space to like force ourselves to think in a new creative way, and I'm sure it'll come back in our work as well and help benefit that by getting new perspective. But we're working on like a bootstrapped documentary about creatives and how and why, and you know, so many animals create only out of necessity. We're doing it sometimes at the expense of necessity. Like starving artists, that would never exist in the animal kingdom, you know? Like they either eat and create nests or they die, you know?
But it's a beautiful nest, you can't see
right,
that.
Right. But like we do it and against sometimes our better judgment, and like why? That's what our little documentary is that we're exploring. And really the only reason we started was we were like, we want an excuse to go meet some of the creatives that we haven't really had a good reason to like. It'd be so awkward if I called up some like random designer that I've never met and be like, hey, I want to meet you. Can I just fly up and we'll hang out, you know? But if you say we're doing a documentary, can I come interview you? It creates the perfect premise, you know? It's the have you got a light, you know, pickup line that doesn't seem weird, you know? So that's why we started it.
Yeah. And we're doing that with our friends, we should say, hard pressed up in Canada. So that's just a fun reason to work with friends.
Yeah.
So And I think that's another thing, collaboration, right? Like our connecting things meetups. I think those are huge. Just continuing to collaborate with other creative people and making sure you have new ideas and you're always like hearing what other people are doing. Because it's always changing. There's always new things going on, and I feel like I'm always behind. But at least when I hang out with you guys, it's like, okay, I still have my finger on the pulse a little.
Also, as a freelancer, it's good to always remember that your opinion is not the only one that's right and valid, right? Forcing yourself to collaborate with other people if you don't do a lot of client interaction regularly is good. It's like a healthy reminder that like, you know, you don't always get the final say. And that doesn't mean that it's going to make or break it, you know?
Yeah, because how much if you just get stuck in your own work and your own client work and you're not doing any personal work, you know, how much you do get stuck in that rut. And it's like all of a sudden, I mean, I would think you just die. Right. And you're not physically, but, you know, like, right. I mean,
but maybe your soul would die.
Probably. Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's how you get burned out. That's how you, like, you know, you lose it. Do you have examples of personal projects you've done that have gotten you work? Like because of some personal projects, then it all like doing just something for fun. It's like, but that's actually like gotten you jobs.
All the time. I feel like it's all the time. Like most of the stuff that I do just for fun, like that's like car or motorcycle inspired, which is just like a culture that I really love and a lot of my friends are involved with. That's always come back with people being like, oh, I saw your poster, love it.
That led to a job with HotWheels, which was so cool.
Yeah.
So they're like, we want a moto themed, like, you know, set of like apparel and
HotWheels.
Yeah,
that's so cool. Right. Yeah. And it also leads to just working with clients that like you actually have shared mutual interests, which is always a blast because you're immediately invested. It's not like you have to be like, okay, like what are you doing? Like okay, explain it to me. I don't understand. You know, it's like I'm immediately there. We're all excited.
You already have shared values and understanding.
Totally. Yeah. So it's kind of fun and so those have always come back. I'm trying to think of what else.
Mm-hmm.
What about your motorcycle projects?
Yeah, those have always, they just always end up coming back with, because half these guys that ride, it's just a hobby, you know, they have like these day jobs doing amazing things, like whatever it is. One of the really cool things, and this didn't pay us very much, but it's just like one of those little feathers in your hat, our Venice poster that I made for fun, or the wedge one, which is over there, Bruce Willis was making a movie in Venice, and they were like, we need set decor for his office, and we need some of your California posters. So my posters are the set decor for Bruce Willis's office. Detective, like. Yeah. So that was like the coolest thing that's ever happened.
No, the coolest thing that's ever happened. Well, maybe second. I don't know. So yesterday we started exploring new media, like little short videos for like YouTube and that kind of thing. And we met a guy at an event the other day, and he works for Soul Pancake, and they're the ones who kind of created Kid President. So the Kid President apparently did his own video, but they're the ones who contacted him and made it this big thing. And so we told him, we're like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. We love Kid President. He's so inspiring, you know? So I guess yesterday they were filming at Soul Pancake with Kid President. And so they filmed this little like 30-second video to me and Amy. We're like, hey, Amy and Jen, just want to let you know you're awesome. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. It's like the most starstruck I've ever been in my entire life.
Like Brooks elbows with like Beyonce and like Jay-Z. I just felt like he really was slumming.
We're like 1 degree of separation from kissing Beyonce, meeting the president, and a number of other exciting things that Kid President has done. So yeah.
We're just riding.
I think it's
all the way in.
Pretty exciting.
That is pretty. You made it. Thanks tons for watching, and hope you loved that video. If you listen to podcasts, you can find this whole conversation along with a bunch of conversations with other talented artists, designers, illustrators, photographers on the Artist Report podcast, which you can find on any platform that you would listen to podcasts. So it would really hope that you could go subscribe to that, check out some of those conversations, and then, this is a place where we are basically trying to draw out from other really talented people what they do, how they've done it, and ultimately that's hopefully inspiring you and challenging you. So hope you love this. You can subscribe to our channel here, the YouTube channel, or click the link below and that'll take you to the Artist Report newsletter. So stay tuned for more and hope to see you around. Thanks.